Let's now come back to your final issues about wife beating.
I think we have given this gentleman a long time. Maybe he can come next time and ask the question.
No, brother, what we're saying is, if we explain to him and he has no reason not to accept the answers, then he said this was his last burial. Inshallah, he will accept Islam. Let's now come back to your final issues about wife beating. Now, if we consider a crime...
I think we have given this gentleman a long time. Maybe he can come next time and ask the question.
No, brother, what we're saying is, if we explain to him and he has no reason not to accept the answers, then he said this was his last burial. Inshallah, he will accept Islam.
Ask him if he has a reason on the previous one first.
Yeah.
If he says but one more time, wallahi, if he says but one more time, he's paying a complete disrespect to this panel, and
I don't think he's even listening.
Barakallahu fik Maurice. Wallahi, barakallahu fik Maurice.
Like, who you've got access to literally first-hand research information from all these folks. They did all the due diligence for you. They told it to you plain and clear. They showed you how equitable Islam was. Every single question you raised up, subhanallah, alhamdulillah.
Mansur is jumping from one thing to the other. He's just jumping every time we answer. But.
Okay. Some people can be like that.
He's good. Just ask him if he's good. If he's good and he's sincere about it, I'm happy. I'm happy to.
Yeah. We will take the next question only if that is something that is understood.
Yeah. Okay, it's understood.
What about the inheritance? Is he happy with the inheritance?
Let me get this right. If Mansur answers your next question, okay, will you then accept Islam?
Yeah, I will accept Islam.
You will accept Islam if he answers your next question?
Yeah.
That's it. He said yes. He said yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So let's do that, inshallah, and our other panel members will come in with different perspectives. So in Islam, you can't just hit and beat anyone. It's not permissible. But what Islam prescribes is punishment system for people who disobey and commit crimes, whether it's crimes in the family, crimes in the society, and so on. So some crimes need to be looked into by the system of law, and then judge will decide and implement the punishment when it comes to like murder, theft, and so on. You can't find someone like a husband seeing someone in the family stealing something and chopping off the hands. That's not the mechanism. It cannot happen. It should not happen. No vigilante actions like that. But certain things which is in between, for example, interactions between husband and a wife, where it doesn't need to go beyond the family. No children need to know about it. No family members, no shoshur, moshai, the father-in-law, the mother-in-law, they don't need to know about it. Then it can be solved like this. So when a crime is committed, there can be this kind of punishment system implemented. So you might, from the very outset, may ask, why doesn't Islam give, like if a husband commits the same crime, why doesn't the wife able to beat the husband? And you and I know very well, Ayaz, in a context, if you're from Bangladesh or India subcontinent and wherever you are, that when the wife would want to implement the punishment for that crime, she won't be able to because she's not physically strong enough compared to man. That's the general case everywhere, right? So Islam takes into account these physical differences between man and woman and gives two different laws in terms of what can be implemented or not. Ideally, if a man commits the same crime of what we call nushuz, marital rebellion, and a woman commits the same crime of nushuz, marital rebellion, you'd expect the same punishment. But because it's going to be implemented by themselves, it's not practical that they have the same kind of punishment to be implemented, because it's not going to work. Since the moment the wife is now going to implement the punishment to her husband to beat him, the husband going to beat her up. This is the reality, because he's stronger and so on. That's culturally everywhere the same. So Islam tells us, when it takes something like this, when there's a marital rebellion, nushuz committing, because that's where the crime is. For the punishment, Islam says you can strike your wife. The wife, when she fears this nushuz, she goes to the judge, and the judge then does the punishment on this, okay, after looking into all of these issues. So she doesn't have to then suffer and be at risk and in danger of implementing the punishment. If you cannot implement the punishment, instead you'll be under danger for doing so, then what's the point of this kind of punishment? So Islam provides a different mechanism in which she goes to the judge, and that judge will then punish that individual. So now let's go back to what the actual crime is. The crime is that in a marital relationship, Allah says, Allah has provided, the husbands, the means financially to be protectors of women, to be guardians of women, to look after them. And out of this wealth, they provide and maintain this family. So what is expected of a believing wife? To be obedient to Allah and to be obedient to the family relationship, and not to do things which will disrupt this, not to do things in the absence of the family, do things which is called nushuz, bringing, for example, another man in her bedroom and doing things which are not acceptable, or selling his BMW or Mercedes, whatever car that he has, right? Selling his shop, his business, selling his, very valuable watch, whatever. In the absence of the husband at home, he may be away, the wife is expected to, the Quran says, to guard her chastity and whatever Allah asks her to guard. And that would be the guarding, of course, her own chastity in private parts, not to flirt around, not to commit zina, not to commit adultery, and also look after the interest of the husband. Like I mentioned on the example, I mentioned about cars and watches and so on and so forth. That's what is Quran is saying expected of her. A righteous, a pious woman would be doing that. Now, if the man fears that he doesn't do that, then there comes the series of rectification for her, what we call punishment in ordinary life, right? But what you didn't realize is the Islamic punishment in this scenario is not that you say, okay, you know what, you've done this something. I saw you were chatting with someone, my best friend, in the bedroom, and the doors were locked, and I noticed this and caught red-handed. You didn't see anything. Even that, for example, it might create something in the hearts of the husband and say, talaq. I mean, whatever words they use is okay. I divorce you, for example. A man can do that by emotion, by being angry. Islam doesn't allow that to happen. Instead, some people can get even more angry and start beating their wives. Okay, that's what we're trying to understand. Is it okay or not? I'm saying the Quran says it's not okay. When you find someone like that, if you start beating your wife, you are committing a sin. You will be punished for that. That means, where does the wife beating coming here then? The first solution Islam provides, which you didn't even know, is to control yourself as a husband. Control your anger and do not commit any violence or anything. While you have composed yourself and control your anger that you had, you start talking to your wife. فَعِظُوهُنَّ. You admonish her, you talk to her, you advise her and saying, what you've done is wrong. Look what happens over here. The solution Islam provided is in a stepwise manner. It's not that Islam says because husband sees something wife done, get divorced, because what's going to happen? Because that would have been the best solution, right? I don't want to live with you anymore because I don't trust you. You're not faithful. What would have happened? The whole family would have broken down, because marriage in Islam is not between two individuals. It's between two families. And more importantly, there might be children involved. A 7-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old daughter. When divorce happens, what happens? They are psychologically in shock. It messes their life altogether. So to protect the children from going into this psychological turmoil and suffering, Islam says divorce is not the first option. It's the last option. So before that, there are prescriptions in stepwise manner to solve this problem in marriage. It's not that you go and say, oh, let me ask your dad about it and ask my dad and let them fight over it, what we've done. It's not even there. No one knows about it at that stage. Whatever is done, whatever wrong. Remember, this is a problem done by the wife. So she's done something wrong. And the husband is trying to solve the problem through the instructions of Allah. So here, the children don't know anything about it yet. And they shouldn't know. They must not know. Neither should the family members, the heads of the families and relatives. It's not their business yet. So if they can resolve this matter, the family can come back to this loving relationship once again. Okay. So what does Islam say? Firstly, فَيَذُوهُنَّ. You admonish her. So you tell her. Now at that stage, if the wife says, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize my mistake. I didn't realize that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have brought this man in the bedroom, right? Your friend here. I mean, this is totally wrong of me. At that point, that's the end of this marital discord and problem. They're back together again. The husband forgives her. That's the end. No beating, no punishment whatsoever. Did you even know that? Of course you didn't know. Now, so that is the case. The solution is ended. Now, it may be occasions where the woman doesn't want to acknowledge that and saying, no, I'm going to bring whoever I want. I have the right to do so. I'm going to sleep around. So who cares? Why do you care? You can do that likewise, whatever. If she keeps on persisting like that, there are now stepwise prescriptions for solving the problems of this kind of woman, because she's not like any other woman acknowledging her mistake. What happened to the brother? Has he disappeared?
I'm not sure.
Right. I'm going to continue anyway, because if there's any sincerity left, he'll come back, inshallah. Okay. It's good for the people to understand why you are misunderstanding in Islamic prescriptions. The first step was to come back together, but with reason. Control your anger. Don't do any physical violence. In UK, in Europe, in the States, what happens in scenarios like this? The woman gets beaten up because the man comes already drunk, and then he beats the woman and they end up in hospital. Most of the cases, domestic violence, are like this. Man beating their wife, not from Muslims, from non-Muslims. So let's come back to Islam. Control your anger. Solution is solved. Problem is solved with a good solution. The woman says sorry, and that's it. If she doesn't do that, that means there's something wrong with her psyche. She is not listening to Allah's law, because Allah says this should be the case. So she's disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala openly and plainly. And she's disobeying the husband. She doesn't care about what's going to happen to the children if they go into a divorce. She doesn't care now if the divorce happens and then they're separated. Something really wrong with this woman, this wife. So Islam says in this case where you beat, no, that's not the solution. Islam says at this stage, you check her, put her on check by what? Not sleeping with her, not having the marital relationship. So you stop your marital intimacy, conjugal relationship. You don't share the beds. That's what it means essentially. So she's now no longer going to meet anyone, because you'll be at check. No friend of yours are coming to the house to do things like that. Thank you for coming, Brother Ayaz. So what I was saying, if you have missed something, Islam provided that first step to reconcile. Can you hear me, Brother Ayaz?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So Islam provided first solution to not get angry, discuss with each other and solve the problem, and that's it. Once she agrees and apologizes, problem is solved. If she doesn't, as I was saying, that means there's something wrong with her. If she persists on doing something like, no, I'm going to sell your other car, I'm going to sell you half of your company when you go next time, that shows something's really not right with her psyche. She's not thinking right, she's not thinking straight. She needs to be, rectified properly. So continue reasoning with her and saying, no, don't bring people like that, don't fornicate, don't flirt around other people, I don't like it, because I'm your husband and you're my loving wife. I don't want you to have this relationship broken, because we love each other, and just because of your certain thinking on thoughts and sudden mood swings, whatever, you do that. Don't do this. Look at our children, think about this. So if she now rectifies, it's fine, back to the same marital relationship, no problem, solved. But if you persist, Islam says the next step is Don't share the beds. Don't sleep with her. Stop having conjugal relationship, marital intimacy. If you put that in stop, if you are married, you're too young perhaps, if you're not married, you not realize that we marital men and women have physical needs of intimacy and companionship. And if you keep that unchecked, you don't have it, there will be this frustration coming and so on and so forth. So you would want to rectify. You will say, okay, fine, you know what? Okay, let me just come back to reality. And she come back, she realizes the mistake, problem solved. But if still, after all these checks and mechanism in place where now no one knows yet, by the way, but you're not having marital intimacy, and she still doesn't do that, then Islam says, you know what? Something definitely wrong with her psyche, with her mental approach, physical approach. You physically tell her, look, we are coming to a point. So symbolically, this is where you don't understand. Symbolically, something that you do, and you say, now, whatever it might be, with a miswak, with your gamsa, what I might be, and say, because you are not even supposed to touch your wife, slap your wife, whatever, before any problems like that. This is how the marital relationship is supposed to be, not any physical violence. Now, so whole of your life, in your marital life, you haven't done so. You have not even raised one finger to her. Now you're saying, next step is approaching. That's what it symbolizes. It symbolizes, because you're not supposed to hit her on the face, on the private parts, and so on. It should show what? Now the next step is where we will come to the bigger family, arbitration. You're no longer secrets anymore. I will bring my arbitrators from my family, and so is from your own family, and then family have to now say, look, what a mess we are in now. We can't even save this marriage. So now we have to sit together and see how we can reconcile and save this marriage. That's the point. So this symbolizes the exit to the next step. Not that you beat her to and she comes to her senses. Now you even, because the whole idea of is wadribuhunna, if you find examples in the Quran, like with the grass, you will find examples like this with some of the prophets doing, it's not physical beating, it's this symbolic hitting to make sure the next step is imminent, that's coming. So when the next step is here, you don't fight her and beat her and strike her, none of that, because you've already shown.
Abu, I understood. Can you please conclude? You have to go to sleep.
Brother, please wake up a little bit more, right? It's very important, because you might need to now take the shahada before you go to sleep, and who knows whether you'll be alive.
Do it right now. I have to go to sleep.
Brother, listen, you don't know whether you will wake up from sleep, do you? You don't know whether you're going to wake up from sleep or not. So we want to make sure that
Mansur is telling you he wants to take the shahada now.
He wants to take a shahada. If the answer is satisfactory, brother, yes, please proceed. We invite you to.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Are you ready to take the shahada back? Are you ready to accept Islam?
Yeah, because I have to wake up for Fajr also.
Fajr, subhanallah, look at the beauty. I mean, he's already looking for Fajr.
Muslim, make it Muslim ayas, remove the X.
He can do that. Or you can do that. You can do that, Hashim. So I'm very pleased. And what happened to the brother again?
No, he's inside.
He's probably going to reconnect.
Okay, no, it's fine. So, brother, without any further delay, so now I'm happy that you are clear in your confusion that you had, and you want to accept Islam. So, where's the Shaykh Ibn Hazm? Are you there with us?
Take it, Mansur. You take it.
Okay, fine. Without any delay. All you have to do, brother, you have to say it yourself, because you know it. What you have to say, you know it. So please say it, so that in your heart it's firm, and then you sleep well and wake up for Fajr, inshallah. Go ahead, my brother.
Ashhadu alla ilaha wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan.
Let me help you. Let me help you, brother. It's been a while. Let me help you. Say ashhadu.
Ashhadu
an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahu Akbar. My brother, welcome back to Islam.
Allahu Akbar.
Now you can sleep with all ease and wake up for Fajr, inshallah, and then connect with us, connect with the brother Maurice, brother Hashim, brother Shaykh Ibn Hazm, brother Muhammad, and we will help you with all other needs and confusions to clarify, inshallah.
If you got any questions, email us. Our email address is in the bottom right corner.
Go sleep in peace, my brother. Inshallah, Allah has guided you back, and then you'll feel the tranquility. You'll have a good sleep and wake up for Fajr, inshallah.
When you wake up, please do contact us, Brother Ayaz. Please do contact us.
Barakallah fikum. I'm going to have to go and pray Maghrib.
Yeah, please do.
Please continue. Okay.